So I'm probably willing to bet you probably haven't heard of this manga before. It's called Ajin Demi-Human. It's been adapted into an anime, although it's unfinished, and I don't think they'll finish it. I don't think they'll finish the anime. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the manga. In case you don't know, it's just a nice little slice of life manga. It's pretty chill, you know. And as most slice of life mangas start out with, some dude immediately gets shot in the head. Oh yeah, you can tell this is gonna be a good one. So we started with Kei Nagai, our main protagonist. You know, walking with some friends. Kei's like, I gotta study to be an upstanding human being, cause I want to be a doctor. And his friend's like, bro, you're kind of weird. And then Kei sees this dude. His name is Kai, and you know, you can tell they're related in some way because their names are literally one letter different. Also, Kei knows his name, so, you know, we can tell they know each other already. Kei's friends are like, you know him? And Kei's like, no, he's a freak. Kai just goes on to eat his sandwich or something. We cut to Kei's classroom, which is talking about, you know, Ajins and what they are. Basically, Ajins are immortal beings, and they can never die. So they look human, except they're not, and they can't die, and, you know, their voice does something special. You know, it's all kind of weird at the beginning. Then they start talking about how you could get a huge bounty for catching one of the Ajins. And then the teacher's like, yeah, but perhaps you would gain ownership of it, like hunted prey. And then Kei's like, prey? Everyone looks at him, and then naturally the teacher's like, raise your hand before you speak. So, Ajins aren't human? Nah, bruh. And the kid's like, yeah, of course. My bad, bro, my bad. Then we cut to this flashback where Kei's dog died like a long time ago, and his mother's like, we got stuck with defective merchandise. Darn pet shop. Maybe I should sue. Which, you know, is kind of a sociopathic response to getting a sick dog that just died. So, yeah. In hindsight, this is probably why Kei is such a psychopath. But, well, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Kei's little sister, Eriko's like, why did he die, man? Why did he die? You die if you're defective? Why? Yeah, bruh. And then Kei's like, you know, why do we die? It's not like we need to die. And then he gives birth to a ghost, and he's like, who are you? He wakes up from his Vietnam flashback just to get immediately ran over by a truck, which kills him immediately, because that is a long blood trail. Also, we can see his body under the truck, so, you know, truck driver gets out and starts taking pictures for evidence, and he's like, what? It's the brat's fault. He ran in front of my truck. We get a close-up of Kei's dead corpse. He has a missing finger, and one of his nails is, sticking out of his finger. Oh. My, like, real-time actual response to that was, ew, what the heck? Oh, no. That was my response. That's what I thought when I saw that. Then the truck driver is like, maybe I should get a photo of the body as well. And then he sees an outline of a person getting up. Of course it's Kei. And he's like, no, I'm human. Yeah, I believe you. Of course. We're friends after all. I'm going to sell you. Then Kei remembers what his teacher said. And they were like, reward? Fame? Demi-humans aren't humans. Then, in distress, Kei lets out a giant scream, which does something to a crowd of people watching. It's like, my body. Obviously, word spreads around fast, and then dude Kai is approached by a couple officers and like, do you know the individual called Kei Nagai? He's like, nah, bruh. What did the guy do? And then this old woman comes over and she's like, oh, he's a demi-human Ajin. And then Kai's like, oh no. And he takes off to go find Kei. Kei, who is seen in the fetal position, is moping under a tree. He pulls out his phone to see if there's anyone who he can call to get help, but he remembers, wait, if I turn on my phone, they can track me with this. So he puts the phone away. Then he's like, wait, I memorized Kai's phone number when I was young. So he turns the phone back on and calls Kai. He's like, man, you gotta help me, man. Then there was like a flashback to when they caught a bug on the tree. Kay is a little hesitant to give Kai his exact position because there might be people listening on to the call. And if he gives away his position to Kai, he will be unintentionally giving his position away to authorities. Then Kai's like, you can trust me. And he's like, and then he gives him a description of where he is. He's like, I'm by the tree where we caught that one bug that one time. And then Kai's like, yes, on the way. Kay returns to the moping tree and immediately gets caught by an officer. He goes on a rant about how his daughter doesn't give him enough respect, and maybe if he catches an Ajin, his daughter will give him a little slight bit of respect. and then Kay's like, I will kill your entire family. The officer is obviously a little off put by this, and then Kay takes this opportunity to run off. Kay's like, you won't outrun me. You won't run me down. And he immediately trips on a branch. The officer's like, you're mine now. Then Kai shows up out of nowhere and kicks him in the back of the head. They both take off running, and then Kai just pulls out a motorcycle from his backpack or something because they're going down the road on a motorcycle in the next scene. I'm not human then? I don't really care, bro. We cut to see some dude on the phone with someone who was trying to track down Kay. He's like, we can't let you get away. Then we cut to some dude literally being crushed by a giant crusher. Not sure what to call it, but whatever. And then some dude who's watching this footage on a computer, he's like, they do such horrible things. Then we cut back to Kay and Kai on a motorcycle, who are then passed by a car. Kay's like, yeah, I think they noticed, man. And the Kai's like, no, I don't think they did. Then we come back to the man who was on the phone with the authorities, and he's talking to his assistant. He goes up to the man who was on the phone with, and he's like, Tosaki is my name. Very aggressive, like. They're talking about tranquilizers, and Tosaki's like, yes, that's what I advised you to use, but personally, I'd prefer if you did not use them. It is a rare test subject. I'd like to get in the most neutral state possible. Then we cut back to Kay and Kai on the motorcycle, and Kay, being the immortal being he is, it's like, bruh, I gotta pee. So they pull over and Kay does his business. While he ponders about the limits of his power, some dudes are lurking in the bushes, presumably the people who passed them earlier. Kay gets caught by the two men. They get in a little scuffle. Kay starts getting choked out to see if he really does die. And then he dies, and they're like, then they're all shocked about it. Hey, I think it just died on us. Then Kay woke up and screamed at them, which immediately caused them to freeze. They physically could not move. So then Kay gets up and sucker punches the guy who choked him out and runs off with Kai. We cut back to Tosaki and his assistant, and his assistant's name is then revealed to be Izumi Shimamura. Kay and Kai are on the run from the two people who got back in their van and are now chasing them. They pass some train tracks and keep going while the two men behind them also attempt to cross it. But then they stop in the middle of the train tracks, and one of the dudes like, well, dude, what are you doing? And then they see a giant black ghost, and he's like, die, all of you. I never did anything wrong. And then they promptly get ran over by the train, probably immediately killing them. What was that? I don't know. It must have been the wind. So they keep driving, and eventually the sun rises, and some dude on a motorcycle passes them, and as he passes them, he must have saw Kay, and he's like, wait, I know you. So he stops and turns around and starts coming after them. So while the tension is high, they switch scenes to Tosaki and his assistant, and they talk about stuff, and then suddenly Tosaki sees someone who he identifies as the Hat. Yeah, very creative name. Good job. Shimamura tries to attack immediately, but Tosaki stops her before she can do anything. And instead of going after the man, he just texts someone and moves on. We cut back to our protagonist running away from this dude, and Kai's like, bro, just scream, do your thing, scream at him, cover my ears while you're at it. And then Kai's like, but wait, if I do it while he's going at that speed, he'll crash and die. But while Kai is thinking about the moral implications of this, the dude kicks their bike, and they get sent off a cliff next to like some sort of river. The dude gets off his bike, comes down there to see Kai, who had just broken both of his legs, and Kai, who is probably dead and in the water. Kai, are you okay? He then gets kicked in the face, just as he deserves. Dude tries to call like the cops or something, and then there's no service. Kai's like, man, it's all my fault. Kai's dead. Wait, if it wasn't for this guy, he wouldn't be dead in the first place. Kai starts to get really angry. But then Kai gets up and smashes this dude in the head with a rock. And then starts beating him with his bare fists. Kai tries to get Kai to stand up, but he's like, bruh, my legs are broken. You know, I guess humans and demi-humans just aren't meant to hang out. Bruh, you're human. At least I think so. So if you run to a place that only I know about, you will stay human. This tiny speech Kai gave was actually very touching. So, you know, 10 out of 10, loved it. Kai's like, yeah, that's complete BS. If I call an ambulance and I see a doctor, I'll get caught. If I stay here, I'll get caught. What can I do? He starts thinking. Starts thinking like an Ajin. He looks around and sees a knife the biker dude just conveniently dropped. He grabs it and commits unalive. He then loses his Wi-Fi connection to life. I'm all better, let's go. Bruh, you didn't have to do that. We then cut to like somewhere in the past where the dude in the hat goes on this rant about how Ajins are seen as simple beings, only being able to, you know, come back alive. But then he says Ajins are a lot more complex than just that. The panel slowly zoom out to reveal a giant room which has people massacred everywhere except for two. Dude in a bunch of bandages and the man in the hat. We come back to Kai checking his neck, seeing if it's alright. And then Kai's like, bruh, are you listening to me? And Kai's like, yeah, of course. We then cut to Shimamura interviewing Kai's sister, Eriko. She's like, did you ever notice anything strange about your brother? Anything that may have indicated that he was, you know, not human? How am I supposed to know that? Fair enough. But then Erika recalls the story about how Kai saw the ghost, but to her, he was just kind of yelling at nothing, so he looked a little crazy. So that was a little strange. Did you say he saw a black ghost? Bro, that's racist. I didn't say it was black. She's then immediately punished for her racism by getting impaled through the stomach by a black ghost, as she deserves. It's revealed that this black ghost is being controlled by someone on the outside. Shimamura flops over dead onto the little girl's bed. The two officers who are just watching this all go down, they get massacred as well. Eriko then passes out because of everything she just saw. We then cut back to Kai for a short while, saying, you know, if there's one upside to humans, it's the fact that if I kill them, they will not come back. But then we cut back to the hospital room, and Shimamura gets back up, revealing that she's a Ajin. Then we cut back to Kai again. You know, it would be kind of hard to believe that I was a demi-human if I wasn't seeing this ghost. We then come back to the hospital room, to the black ghost, and giving some information about the Ajin. You see, demi-humans regenerate by massing pieces of ourselves around a core chunk. But a piece that's too far away isn't recovered, and a new one is created. Basically what this means is if a piece of your body is too far away, it will give up on that piece and simply just grow a new one. And he goes on to say, what if that piece was your head? Gives you chills, no? Shimamura then gives birth to a black ghost, and the other one's like, wait, you can do that too? They're kind of confused because they don't know how to fight each other because they never fought a black ghost before, so they kind of just experiment. One of them tries cutting their heads off. That doesn't work because it just regenerates. Then one of them gets punched in the face, and half of their head is just blasted off. So blunt force damages them. Good to know. Shimamura's black ghost then defeats the other one, and the day is saved. Tosaki is probably gonna yell at me for this later, but at least I saved the girl. And then the girl goes missing. Then we see Tosaki in a room with scientists, and they're talking about the effects of an Ajin's voice. Basically, when Ajin yells or something, they use something called tonic immobility. Basically, what this does, it makes your muscles tense up to the point where you can't move. So that's why when Kei, screamed, nobody could move. But this is only temporary, and those who know the Ajin and don't know he's an Ajin, well, the effects aren't as, effective. We go back to Kei, then he starts thinking about statistics. It's like, wait, there have to be more Ajins out there. If I could just find a safe place with purely Ajins, I would be safe there. And then Kai comes back with groceries and then flops onto the floor to take a nap. Kei then steals his phone and runs away. Then he gets a phone call on Kai's phone, which is from his little sister, Eriko, who was just kidnapped. He's like, wait. So this could either be the cops calling me, or this could be a demi-human calling me. He decides not to take the chance and doesn't pick up the phone. So it goes to voicemail. But he listens to the message, and it says, "Have you ever seen a black ghost?" Immediately knowing what it was referring to, Kei calls them back, and they pick up. The callers are revealed to be the man in the hat and this guy who's named Tanaka. They reveal where they're going, and they're going to meet up someplace. So they hang up, and then Kei pulls Kai's motorcycle out of his butthole and drives off. We then get a close-up of the car that the man in the hat is driving in. Then it zooms into the trunk, and we get to see that Kei's little sister is in the trunk of their car. We then see Kei pledging that if they get violent, if they get rough with him, well, he's gonna have to get rough back. And that was the end of the volume. This is my first time reading the Ajin Volume 1. It's actually really good. The art is very good. The setting is very good. It's got a lot of things going for it. And obviously the anime doesn't finish the story. So I'm excited to see where it goes past the point where the anime ends. Also, this manga is 17 volumes long. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to read all of that? Oh man. Alright, whatever. I'll do it. So I guess y'all can be expecting another review of Volume 2 soon. So, yeah. Better get to reading. Anyway, if you guys do want that, make sure to like and subscribe. And leave a comment sharing what your favorite part was. So anyway, see you on the next one. See ya.